Hello, fellow YouTubers. This is the Desert Cardinal. And yesterday we talked about developing a crisis plan. And out of all the videos I've done, I've got more feedback from that video than probably any other video that I've done. So I decided that I'll spend a couple more days um, and going specifically into, you know, at least the major components of a crisis plan. I looked at my crisis plan, and I after looking at my plan, I thought I need to update mine. Because what I did was I searched on Google mental health crisis plans and just read and studied on some, and I printed out one. Um, in some ways I like it, and in other ways I don't. But there's like to this one, there's like 12 11 or 12 pages, and it's like, no, you want something that, you know 2 pages max. I mean, you want to have something to where, like, you can put it up on the bathroom mirror or the refrigerator with a magnet, or you know in your bedroom on the wall, or something where people can see it, and they know that it's there, because that's going to give them an idea of what they need to do. And um, so a lot of the crisis plans that I looked at started out with what it's like when I'm well. And so, you know, when I'm well, I have a good sense of humor. I'm sleeping well. I'm showering regularly. Um, uh, I'm eating right. Um, you just list as many things for you, because that question is more for you than it is somebody else, because you might be feeling one thing or another thing and think, oh gosh, what's going on. And then if you look at that, and you see, oh, you know what, I have more of those than I do the negative stuff. So maybe I'm just having a bad day. And and because we get, at least I do, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I get a symptom, however brief it may be, man, my mind starts going crazy. I've called it, I don't know if I've said it on here or not, but that I got the itty bitty shitty committee that meets in my head, or like my mind's a magic magnifier, or like my mind's like a bad neighborhood. You don't want to go in there alone. Um, and that's kind of the way my mind works. I start, I don't know, see a hallucination that's different than what I normally see, and then I start thinking, oh, you know what, I'm becoming schizophrenic or whatever. And I'm not trying to belittle people who struggle with schizophrenia. I'm not trying to do that. But I mean, in other words, you know, symptoms we get, sometimes we can get paranoid about where they're going, and if we have something we can look at and say, you know what, yeah, my sense of humor is okay. I'm sleeping well. I'm eating well. I'm exercising. I'm doing all these things. So you know what? I just am probably having a bad day. Um, so then on the flip side of that, the next part. So you have the first part, like what's it like when I'm having a bad day. Then the next part, the second part, would be um, what are signs and symptoms that I need my support system um, to take over. Um, what are those signs when I need them to take over? Um, it could be extreme paranoia. Um, you could be having like delusional thoughts. And delusional thoughts in and of themselves aren't necessarily an issue. It's more when we start believing the delusional thoughts. Like yesterday, um, was hallucinating and I saw witches. That's new for me. It kind of freaked me out. Um, but um, I knew they weren't real. And so, because see, yesterday was a real pivotal day for me because some things have happened that haven't happened to me before. And so I had to call my therapist and I talked to her and she said, find 3 people that you can talk to. Because what was happening, I'll be open and honest with you guys. Um, I started hearing commanding voices. And I've never done that. You know, I've sometimes I've heard like a single voice, but it's never been like a commanding voice. Like yesterday, um, you know, there was a coffee cup over here on my desk right here, and the voice was like, move that coffee cup. And I was like, what? And it's weird. It's really bizarre, and I thought it was like a one-time kind of thing, but it kept going. And so I called my therapist and I said, look, hey, this is going on. And she said, okay, you need to, get 3 people that you can talk to, text or email or Facebook message or call or whatever. And tell them this is what you're thinking and have them respond, no, Paul, that's not real. Don't believe that. The truth is such and such and so and so. So I got on the phone and I called 3 people, my wife and 2 friends that I have that are very supportive friends, and that they've always been a part of my support system. And ooh, I love that flavor. It's black licorice. I like black licorice. So vaping black licorice is right up my alley. So trying to think. Um, yeah, so I had to do that yesterday. Okay, I had to like kind of on the fly, make a little crisis plan for me. And my family knows my sons. I have 2 sons, 15, 13, and my wife, and they know the crisis line phone number is on the refrigerator and it's there. And if I start acting really strange or, you know, exhibiting some of the signs that I need intervention, then they know to call that number. And the crisis line in my area, um, they'll either talk to you on the phone and talk you down, or they'll send somebody out to the house and they'll talk to you. And then, while they're here, they'll assess you and say, you know what, you need to come with us, and we need to watch you for a couple of days and, try some different medication or whatever. So I'm really fortunate that I have that here. I was looking up uh, a place for a lady who's a subscriber, and I found I found some possible crisis line type uh, uh, organizations um, for her to look into. So it's possible. She lives in a big city, so I live in a big city, El Paso. We're over like 1 million people, and so uh, now when you're in a rural area, you know you just got to make do with what you got, and if it means calling 911, it means calling 911, and just do the best that you can. So we've got I'm trying to word it right. Okay, well, what it's like when I'm well is the first one. The second one is um, signs or symptoms I have when I need my supporters to take over. And like I said, it could be paranoia, it could be believing, delusional thinking. Like I said, delusional thinking in and of itself isn't. I'm over 10 minutes again. Delusional thinking in and of itself isn't a, an issue unless you're not aware of it and you're believing it so much that you're acting out on it. And then yeah, at that point you need your supporters to take over. If you become a danger to yourself or others, you know uh, I used to cut, and uh, I was cutting one time, and a friend came over, and I showed him, and he called 911 right away, and they took me to the hospital. And um, and so for you, there may be different signs. For me, the signs are um, like you know I hallucinate. I've hallucinated a lot. They're changing. They're getting more intense. So I don't know if that's a sign for me yet or not. I see my psychiatrist on Thursday. I've got these three people, my wife and my two friends, that I can talk to before Thursday if I need to. And so, you know, I just have to kind of wait and see. And um, and then of course, if you have signs and symptoms of needing your supporters to take over, you need to list the names, and phone numbers, and addresses even too of people that support you, um, and instructions of like what do you want from them, and your caretaker can look at that and say, oh wow, you know what, this person has said to call if a crisis is going on, and they'll talk to him on the phone for a while, or whatever it may be. It could be as simple as sometimes we may think we're headed towards a crisis, and and stuff may be going on, and you're so much into your head that you're like, and you call a friend, and you go for a ride in a car, or they take you to Starbucks or something, and you have a cup of coffee. Sometimes just doing that, getting out of the house, and you know getting away from everything for a little bit with somebody you care about, and they care about you. Sometimes that's all you need, and so not everything is a crisis, but we do need to plan um, for a crisis. And then so what we've got now is we've got what's it like when I'm feeling well, what are the signs and symptoms that I need my supporters to take over, what are the names and phone numbers of my supporters, and then the next video I do will talk about um, like developing your list of doctors and medications, um, uh, what kind of hospitals um, um, you would prefer. There may be a hospital in town that you had a bad experience with, and you don't want to go back there. So, you put on your crisis plan, the hospitals that you would prefer to go to if you became a danger to yourself or others. And then I think it's important for everybody to have a suicide contract, but even more so, I think if you're a parent and you have a child that's mentally ill, a teenager, young, 10, 11, 12 years old, and they have some kind of mental issue that they're struggling with, and they have been suicidal in the past. I think for a teenager or a young person to have a suicide contract with their parents where, I promise that if I start having these thoughts, I will talk to, my therapist, or I will talk to you, mom, or you, dad, or I will talk to big brother, or I will talk to big sister, or whoever. But the in writing, you make a commitment to talk to somebody about the feelings that you're having, either suicidal thoughts or homicidal thoughts. And don't for a minute, if you're struggling with mental illness, don't for a minute think that you're immune to having homicidal thoughts. You know, I've been dealing with depression since probably, I want to say, 1988, and had suicidal thoughts off and on. I'd been in a straitjacket. I was in like a mental hospital in a mental ward where it was like almost like kind of To Kill a Mockingbird kind of place. They didn't do like the shock treatments, the real intense ones or whatever, but it was like it wasn't really kept clean, and everybody was kind of just walking, around this area, and people would come up to me and say, I'm Jesus Christ or whatever, and I was thinking, wow, this is what my life has come to. And I'll never forget, there was a little girl. She couldn't have been more than 11 or 12 years old, and they had her tied up to, like, there was a pole in the ward. There was a pole that went from the floor to the ceiling, and they had her tied up on that. And she would just scream, no more medication, no more medication. And these guys would come over and give her a shot, and she'd calm down. But they left her tied up to that, and it's just like, ah, oh, you know, is this what my life has come to? And I had a really special friend, and we've kind of drifted apart. But this friend, he called me every single day when I was in that psych ward, just to see how I was doing. And, that little effort that he made on his part, I'll never forget that. I'll never ever forget that, because like I said, I've been through it all. I've got really messed up, and I jumped off an 18-foot balcony and landed on my head. I shaved off all my body hair one time. Um, uh, did the cutting. Um, Tried to kill myself one time. Like, I took like I had Percocet because I'd had a an issue where I needed pain medicine, so I had a bunch of Percocets, and then I had a tooth thing, so I had some Tylenol 3. So I took the Percocets, the Tylenol 3, chased it all down with a bottle of Jack Daniels, and smoked a joint that was laced with PCP. And just out of the blue, this friend of mine said he was driving down the street and just kind of had this feeling like he needed to come over to my house. So he came over and sat with me, and I was okay. And he actually prayed for me. And, I don't know if it was a miracle or what, but I got up the next morning and I went to school. And, and a couple of times after that, I tried to commit suicide. Um, but I kind of knew that with everything else that I had done to try, it wasn't probably going to work. But I tried anyway, and um, and so I've been really fortunate. Um, uh, with some of the people that are in my life. And if I don't stop, I'm going to start crying. Um, you know, and if you're struggling, because I know, I've gotten like emails from people that just break my heart that are struggling so much. And I want you to know there's light at the end of this. I mean, it's not always going to be bad. That somehow, some way, you're going to get through this time. And I'm completely honored and completely humbled that you feel comfortable enough to share, your experiences with me. And um, just, I mean, I've only been doing this channel for a week and a half, but there's been a handful of people that have just opened up their heart to me and shared their own stories. And, I'm truly humbled that I'm able to be of some kind of service, to others that are struggling. And I've told you guys enough of my own stuff. I'm struggling too. I got stuff going on, and it's like I always like to say, a wise man once told me that I'm just one beggar showing another beggar where the bread line's at. Thank you, and God bless.